What's good, y'all? So in this video, I'm gonna be reacting to Fantastic Hip Hop, how Kendrick just ruined Drake's life bad and silenced Joey forever. I've been out the loop. I don't know what's going on. You feel me? So here we are.
Lamar. Well, if you are ready to see how Kendrick is about to keep the most dominant run in
I'm
all of
so
music up
fast.
with, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And now, with that said, right now, with the current king of hip hop, well, more than ever right now, Kendrick has realized that he
Yes,
has
Scissor.
become the main target in hip hop for both the jealous and miserable crash outs on one side of the genre, and at the same time, he's the main target for the hungry MCs who believe that they can out rap him. And now, with this, despite all the people standing against Kendrick pushing him to drop diss tracks on somebody like Joey right now and responding more to the growing negative sentiments that are coming all from these jealous losers and haters, Kendrick is playing a super tactical game with now both of his biggest rivals in this thing in both Drake and Joey, as with Kendrick's latest moves both during the final night of the Grand National Tour's run at SoFi Stadium and also with the latest collab that he has just released with Gatorade, well, Kendrick has managed to send his final warning to Joey and at the same time continue to stay on Drake and make sure that he never gets the comeback that he is so desperately trying to put together. And now, before we go any further into how Kendrick did all of this and what it's going to mean, be sure to leave a like and subscribe.
You already asked me to do this, but y'all leave a like and subscribe, please. Thank you.
Kendrick is really setting
To
a new
me.
precedent in hip hop right now for both the new foes and old ones, because at this point, as Kendrick is holding the crown of rap so high up that he is so far in the lead that nobody can realistically even achieve a fraction of what he has, Kendrick is moving like only the best MCs who have ever had anywhere near this type of dominance have. And now, what I mean by that is that when it comes to this whole idea and concept of competition and how these
By the way, we need more music videos to GNX. We need um the reincarnated with love. I need it, and I'm being greedy as a Kendrick fan because I mean he's deprived us for much, much longer. So, you know what? Never mind.
level rappers approach beef. Kendrick is just coming at his rivals and the people who
Hey,
want his spot
she
in ways that
beaten.
are so tactical and thought through that to call this rap battling is really an understatement, because with what Kendrick is doing, he's playing a game of artistic chess where he is outsmarting people at every single point. And now with what Kendrick did in the most important moment of all of this here was use his biggest power, which was to surprise and scare everybody when they check their feeds and pages, because once again, Kendrick Lamar put out one of his rare posts where we see the most cryptic and important voice in hip hop actually put something out there, and all you see is that black circle and you're waiting to see what it's gonna hold. Well, as the one rapper who, when they post everybody stops, put something up, instead of dropping a diss track or announcing something like the Super Bowl again, Kendrick Lamar dropped the second video in the campaign that he is.
You know what? Should we watch it? Was he talking about Gatorade? Let's go watch it real quick.
I lose sweat, I lose time, I lose peace, I lose sweat, I lose time, I lose sight, I lose sweat, I lose time, I lose track, and I lose drop after drop after drop after drop.
Did he just say drop after drop? Drop, drop, drop. Hey man, this man different.
I lose sweat, I lose time, I lose track, and I lose drop after drop after drop after drop. Going the distance, losing, so I know I always win.
I know that's right. Drop, drop, drop a 50 bag into something and drop a 50 can in his hand. I was trying to give it PG.
And he is doing that is making him the first rapper ever to be featured in a campaign with a brand that historically has done all of their collabs with the greatest athletes in the world, in of course Gatorade. And now, as Kendrick has just reached a level that no other rapper ever has so clearly, in this space where nobody has ever reached, Kendrick is redefining how creative you can even make these things, as he is being a one-of-a-kind tactician that nobody else can even challenge, it feels like, at this point, because of how high of a level he's operating at. As in this second Gatorade vid, which Kendrick has narrated, typical fashion of one of the most genius creatives that we have out right now. Every word that he has said meant something here, and with what Kendrick told us within these 30 seconds, was really, I guess, the most relatable thing that he has said to the rest of the rap game, and especially the people who have consistently turned on him and tried to disrespect his run here, as for a second, Kendrick really jumped down to their level and said, "Every morning I lose." But now, of course, with Kendrick being Kendrick, He isn't saying that he's losing like all these other clowns that call themselves rappers in this era where he is raising the bar higher and higher. And of course, he's playing on words and is talking about how because of his hard work, he's losing sweat, time, and what feels the most true out of this the more and more he is leveling up, and especially with what we have just seen from Joey. With the levels of greatness he is at, he is losing his own peace. And now after Kendrick is sure to include the phrase here when he is talking about losing sweat, drop after drop after drop, well, of course, you know exactly who Kendrick is trying to troll here, and even with something he is doing for Gatorade. Again, Kendrick is not just beefing with people, but he is
Oh,
playing
and
this
by the
game of
way, to the people that keep saying, "Hell, he's not relevant. He's not relevant without Drake." I don't know if y'all ever beefed with anybody in your fucking life, but it don't end. Okay, it don't end till the cat yells or screams. What's the saying? It doesn't end till the old fat lady sing or something. Whatever. My point is that I don't understand why people are acting like this when people Jay-Z and Nas was beefing forever. 50 Cent is still beefing with Ja Rule. Like what? Eminem probably still don't like mofos. And y'all are just like it's just he's never been relevant before as if and then when y'all say that stupid shit I'm just like y'all are just a little dumb. You know what I'm saying? Cuz it's not true. And it's easy to Google shit. That man had the Mr. Morale was the highest grossing rap tour prior to the beef. Stupid, sound dumb. Would it damn outsold whatever Drake's album was in the same year? His commercial success has been great, and the quality of work has also been great. So I just don't like that that narrative because it makes no fucking sense.
where the diss is so subtle that of course anybody who is not in the know of what's going on
Drop,
won't even pick up on this
drop.
and what's happening, but for the people who do and for Drake, which is the most important person to receive this, him and everybody around him is being reminded that no matter what they try to do from here on out, they are never going to get back to the spot that they want to be at, and they will never be able to get away with what OVO did before Kendrick just humiliated every single one of them. And now as Kendrick ended this entire video saying that he makes sure that he loses all of this so that he always wins, I mean, whether it's Drake, Joey, or anyone else, Kendrick is sending out warnings and disses to everyone within these platforms and spaces that are just doubling and tripling down on the fact that he is so above the rest of the competition that if you're gonna try to diss him, you have to try a lot harder than what everyone else has so far. And from Kendrick referencing Family Matters and Drake's drop, drop, drop line once again, which easily has to be one of the most haunting things that anybody has ever said in a rap career. And I am sure if Drake could, while he would never admit it, he would take that back because that line has never sounded worse, especially in this context. It's even beyond that, Whitney Alfred's brother Taylor being in this thing alongside Kendrick as well, which once
I know that's right. I mean, I didn't know what he looked like, but
is showing to all those weirdo Drake fans at OVO that obviously Kendrick and Whitney are good and that their attempts to create issues between these two are just not a real thing. Because again, Whitney's own brother would not be supporting Kendrick and doing something like this if they weren't on the best terms, because that's just not how things work. Again, when you put this together, overall, Kendrick Lamar is just helping everyone around him win, while he is just being this master tactician in terms of just not letting up on his competition in a way that is so silent and directed to specific people that without most people even realizing, he is erasing his rival's own impact and disses while only moving up the rankings himself. And now again, just to get on Kendrick's level and really match this run at all, what the message that Kendrick is trying to send is that it's going to take anyone a lot to try and reach what he is doing and even get a response. And now speaking of Kendrick's beef and getting him to actually engage with diss tracks taking a lot, this is really the lesson that Joey is learning right now, because beyond the direct disses to Drake here, and really the general sentiment, which is now of course applying to Joey because the shoe fits. Alongside this, during Kendrick's final show at SoFi Stadium in LA, when Kendrick was performing a fan favorite track, Stand Out from GNX, and a perfect song for a stadium here in
oh,
none
squabble
other
up.
than track 9 off of that record
Oh,
in Peekaboo. Kendrick did not do what he has been doing for the rest of the tour, and even when he was in the Super Bowl, which was rap both the guest and solo parts himself, Kendrick ended up bringing out the first rapper from GNX at a spot in this tour, and
oh,
just
Az.
speaking volumes about how much Kendrick believes in this guy and the message he wanted to send here. The only rapper to join Kendrick on this stage besides Playboi Carti and Baby Keem. Now, who I am talking about here is none other than AZ Chike, who did his entire guest verse and everything else on Peekaboo. And now I have to say, for a rapper who was so fresh into their career and who has only gained the popularity and larger spotlight with this very song and moment, while of course on the surface we are seeing a featured rapper perform a massive record alongside Kendrick, when you realize that during the rest of these tour spots and in the place that it has never been more perfect. For these recent shows, other GNX alum whose vocals played during the performance like Lefty and Roddy Ricch and even Dodie Six, who despite all of the drama he has had with Kendrick because of his own crash out, tried to squash his beef with Kendrick, I guess, and at the end of the day, Kendrick does still play his vocals during when he plays Hey Now. I mean, with all of this, as these artists, and in someone like Roddy's case, a full-fledged star in hip-hop, had the chance to be on stage with Kendrick and run their guest appearances within the setlist and moments that were already there and planned out, and of course would have just been so seamless. With all of these names not, and AZ being out in this time where he was on stage next to Kendrick after he was a part of the whole Lyrical Royal Rumble with Joey right before this. Well, I really think that on Kendrick Lamar's end, more than just helping an artist who he really believes can be a full-fledged star, this was a tactical move that he wanted to make, both to help AZ develop and help him get closer to becoming a bigger and bigger name in the rap game. Because again, and I will say, it does seem like out of every rapper on GNX, the way Kendrick rapped his verse at even the Super Bowl just shows how he sees the vision for him and wants him to be very close with PG Lang and him as he is trying to become a star and make his movement just bigger and bigger. But beyond that, in terms of everything that just went down in hip-hop, and again, with AZ just going against Joey himself and in a beef, which is all about getting to Kendrick Lamar for Joey, well, with Kendrick bringing out AZ, and let's face it, letting him perform for a crowd that is bigger than Joey or any rapper besides a few others have ever been in front of, well, Kendrick is really trying to place his pieces on the board against Joey, and let him know that despite how funny you can try and spin his name around to sound, and really within that how it may have seemed like
Ass
Joey
cheek.
ended him off like that, well, despite all that, he is still taking W's, and very similar to Kendrick pulling out the brake lights with the red GNX on the first night after all of these tracks dropped in the first place, Kendrick once again seems to be sending Joey the message that he failed to take down these newer and less experienced rappers, and really with this, while some people who don't understand competition in rap are trying to make it seem like Kendrick is using these guys to sort of dodge Joey, in actuality, in this time where the sport of rap is crossing over with an artistic genius, and when he has never
Yeah, that's my thing. It's like just because if he doesn't respond, that means he's scared is crazy to me. What if he doesn't think he's worth his time? I'm not even trying to be like that, but what if he's just like, no, I'm not about to waste my time. You know, when like you get a negative comment on a picture or something like that, and you just looking like, do I respond to this shit? Should I respond to this shit? They really disrespectful. Should I even waste my time responding to this shit? Nah, I got too much other shit going on. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. I'm not trying to make excuses. I'm just saying. Because if he was to respond to everybody who said some shit to him, hey man, that man would be responding for days. Days. All right, because y'all, some of y'all is actually just haters, to be honest. What I've even noticed with this whole Joey versus the West thing is that some of y'all just don't like Kendrick. So in turn, you don't like TDE. And so you're just rooting for Joey for that simple reason. Because you want somebody to beat him. Because he beat your favorite artist. That's weird.
Kendrick's way of upping what
And
he
I feel
raps
like he could release, well, he did it with Drake. He could release the hardest hitting, best fucking disses against Joey, and people are going to be like, ah, no, it wasn't. Like just because like they did it during the Drake and Kendrick beat. They tried to like almost like manipulate people to thinking like to try to convince people stuff was whack. When people started saying Euphoria wasn't good, I said, oh yeah, yeah, y'all are smoking crack. Cause what? Euphoria? You could have said any. No, you couldn't. You couldn't even said none of the disses from him were ass. You you could. Them shits were fire. But when I saw people being like, yeah, mid, I'm like, yeah, y'all are actually illiterate as hell.
can be like, and letting Joey know overall that once again, if he wants to get his attention and genuinely get in a lyrical back and forth, he is going to have to work a lot harder, because with AZ walking on this stage right alongside him after their beef, well, it's really showing that Kendrick is unbothered right now in terms of the disses that has came his way, and is not impressed with what Joey is doing against him, not in terms of what he is doing for the sport of rap, because I am sure Kendrick loves that there is a
Yeah.
newfound surge of people rapping, and that there's MCs who want to have a beef with bars and not with all the antics that somebody like Drake does. But still, with what's going on with these MCs, it is still a competition, and for trying to compete with the king and get on the same playing field as him, Kendrick really just seems to be sending a hard message here indicator of what the bar is going to be to get him to get in the ring. And now, after Ray Vaughn also told us that Kendrick authorized him to diss Joey in the first place on his GoldenEye response track, this really does also make you wonder, with AZ being here and after he dissed Joey this week as well, in this beef, and he was so unimpressed with what Joey has done so far and is trying to just get him to swing harder, that with both rappers like Ray and AZ, he made them earn some very important reps against him instead of just him jumping in and taking this thing over very quickly. And now, with all of this, overall, no matter what you want to think about it, well, I think Kendrick Lamar has sent the message as loud and clear as you possibly could be with subliminal and cryptic disses, that he is good right now from engaging in this beef with Joey, and whether it's because his disses are not saying much, or it's because he has not jumped out and made a full-on Kendrick Lamar diss track without mentioning other people or tiptoeing around his name in the beginning. Well, because of all of that, Kendrick is still waiting for the real diss because he does not see this guy as a worthwhile opponent, and to be honest, I do think that as Joey has an album that will drop before August 30th, and everyone now knows that, and within this moment, of course, it seems like he's trying to do an East Coast version of what Kendrick did for the sport of rap and the entire coast he is from with an album like GNX. I think it's obvious, and that Kendrick maybe even knows right now, that a bigger diss is going to come his way, and it will be all about him, and it will try to create this rap beef that will be even bigger than anything we have seen so far. And now with this, really for this main reason, which all comes down to the fact that Joey wants to do so much more against Kendrick in the booth, and already probably has it planned out. If Joey wants to play games with these little lines that are trying to get him to jump out, Kendrick is going to play games back with him and try to tire him out before this thing even starts by making somebody like AZ Cheek seem cooler and bigger than he ever has
You
been.
said
And I mean, if
AZ
Joey
cheek. I can't. Okay, I'm ending it there because no hate, but fantastic hip hop be repeating himself. Listen, I just personally, I know people are like, he's gonna respond, he's gonna respond. I think he'll mention it. Do I think he's gonna make a full diss? No. For the simple fact that there's been instances like this in the past where after Control, there was a slew of rappers that that weren't even mentioned, that went back at him and said these things, and that you could say were like great rappers or whatever. There was ass rappers that said stuff or whatever, and it wasn't much of a response. You know what I'm saying? So the difference to me was that Drake and Kendrick didn't like each other for over a decade, and that shit was building up. So I don't think that he would respond with a full diss track going back and forth just because Joey created an imaginary issue, apparently. Maybe that's something he doesn't want to do. Maybe the diss when they were going back and forth, that took a lot out of him. I don't know. I don't know the emotional effects of that shit. So yes, I think it'll be mentioned, brought up maybe in a song at some point. Do I think that there's going to be this what happened with Drake and Kendrick, with Joey and Kendrick? Absolutely not. That's just me. Maybe I'm completely wrong, but personally, I don't know. Anyways, y'all tell me what you think. Y'all like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Instagram. See y'all in the next one.